Hello, this is Pac-it, a VMU game made for the Dreamcast port of Namco Museum, released in 2000. I'm gonna go ahead and start the game here. Now, there's been very little documentation of this game online. Most I could find was a screenshot of this title screen here, but that's it. So I've decided I will be the first to make a video on it. The gameplay is pretty simple. You do this. Beeping is pretty loud, so I'm going to try and turn that down a little bit. So you get 3 points for every dot you pick up. As it goes along, the dots become worth more points. Eventually they start becoming worth 6. Here, yeah, once you get past 39 points from there on, they become worth 6 points. And I think that might increase again at some point, but as you can see, the speed of the game increases until you miss 5 dots. It increases pretty quickly too, so it becomes very easy to miss every single dot in a row. But that is the entire game. At the bottom right below the score, it'll show your health bar by one of 5 pixels just disappearing. Here, I'll let you see that. Yeah, you can see at the bottom right the health going down. So it's a fairly simple game. I mean, all VMU games are, but there just wasn't any documentation about this game anywhere. And, you know I'm not the only person that's a big enough Pac-Man fan to want to know about every game released for it. You know, there are other games out there that are similarly seemingly lost to time, such as the VR game released in 1996. And some other discontinued mobile games and stuff like that, games for old flip phones. But this one I was actually able to retrieve. Now, there were no ROMs of the VMU game specifically online. I had to upload one myself so that other people can play it. If you do want to play this game, I will have the link to that in the description. I can never seem to get higher than 150 points. But the way I actually ended up getting this running was not through like burning a disc of Namco Museum on the Dreamcast or anything like that. I don't even have Namco Museum on the Dreamcast. The only Dreamcast game I own is Miss Pac-Man Maze Madness. And unfortunately, that does not include this VMU game. Would have been nice. Made this a lot easier, but here we are. Damn. So, the way I actually did get a hold of this was by I had to get an entire Dreamcast emulator running, and the one time I've tried to do Dreamcast emulation using null DC in the past didn't work out very well. Could not get it to work. But after revisiting it for the purposes of this, oh, look at that! Sometimes if you catch enough dots while it's in fast mode, it'll slow back down, and I'm not sure exactly why it does that. Maybe it's like every interval, like every specific amount of dots. If you last long enough without losing all your health, you can see I scraped by with only 2 health left there. Then it 492. That's definitely a high score to beat there. Anyway, So I had to get a emulator working for Dreamcast games, and the one I ended up going with this time was... I actually don't even remember the name. I set all this up yesterday, but didn't have time to record until now, so... I had to emulate. I also had to get an ISO of Namco Museum on Dreamcast, which I fortunately managed to get without getting any kind of virus. Hooray. So, after setting all that up, I was able to actually play the game. And then all I had to do is figure out how to save the game to a VMU, a virtual VMU file, which the emulator uses to hold your saves. And I also had a VMU emulator called Elysian VMU, which Elysian VMU ran extremely slowly, and I wasn't sure why, but I did end up getting another emulator, which I'll talk about later. So what I did was I saved the minigame, the VMU minigame, to the memory card. The virtual memory card. Close. And from there, I had the file of the memory card, which was a .bin file, which luckily enough, Elysian VMU did read. It can read entire VMU memory card files, which are saved in .bin. At least on emulators. I don't know if they are in the actual hardware. But from there, you can pick between either a game save or an actual VMU game. Obviously, looking at a game save is not very interesting, and I don't know if it would even do anything. But it, to my surprise, just dragging the bin file into Elysian VMU let it start right up, and it worked. I was able to actually play the game, and I was not very impressed. Not that I was really expecting much, but that was because of the extremely slow running speed of the emulator. It's really, really slow. So then I spent the next hour and a half trying to look for other VMU emulators. Now, Elysian VMU does have a different version that runs in your browser on their website. So I was like, okay, I'll try this. And I did manage to get it to load the ROM by dragging the file into the emulator, but for whatever reason, I couldn't get it to detect any of my keyboard inputs. I'm not sure what that was about, but it was very annoying. So the only other VMU emulator I could find was VEMU later, which is an Android exclusive emulator. It does not work on Windows. So what I'm doing right now is emulating the VMU on an Android emulator. I'm using BlueStacks with VMU installed onto that in order to get it. And surprisingly enough, it works, and it works really well. The game runs smoothly. I actually have sound, unlike the other emulator. And I can play the game, which is great. It's really interesting to be able to experience a game that was seemingly completely lost to time. There was no documentation of it, no gameplay footage, nothing but a screenshot of the title screen. Hey, I made it to the second round. Let's go. Sometimes you get lucky and it'll shoot like all the dots in that phase all at the same place. You can get to the second round and maybe improve your high score. So yeah, that's the story. It is really cool to be able to actually play this and document it. 492. It's a new high score. By maybe 1 dot. So I guess I'll talk a little bit for people that watch me, people that are watching this video because they watch my content. So to all my subscribers out there and my Twitter followers and whatnot. I don't know if I've mentioned this anywhere, but I have plans to review every single Pac-Man game. I will be starting the Pac-Man Marathon shortly after the Wario Land Marathon is done, which, as you know, I only have 1 video left for, which is also going to be a collab. I wanted to make the 2 extra videos special, so they're both collabs. Coming up, I have that, and afterwards I'm going to take a break from the whole marathon formula and just do some one-off reviews. But after that, after I feel like I'm ready to get back into the marathons, I will be doing a Pac-Man arcade marathon, and I'll cover every single arcade Pac-Man game in a row. Excluding the later ones. I'll be stopping at 1996's Pac-Man VR, and which I mentioned earlier is not a game I can play. You might be wondering how I'm going to review a game I can't even play, and that's a good question. I'm not entirely sure either, to be honest, but I'll figure something out. I have made attempts to reach out to people on like arcade preservation forums and stuff like that, because there's apparently one guy known to have a cabinet of it, but they haven't like posted much about it, so I don't know if it's real or not. But that aside, will I be reviewing this game for that marathon? Well, not for the arcade marathon, but in the greater Pac-Man series reviews. Yes, I will. I will review this as its own game, because, I mean, hey, it's Pac-Man, he's eating dots. Why not, you know? But yeah, this is going to be on the table for reviews. I'm gonna try and review everything I can, but unfortunately, Pac-Man VR is not the only game like this that's gonna be incredibly hard to get actual gameplay of and to actually play. But not even close. So sad. I will be reviewing this. There are going to be some hard ones like Pac-Man Tilt, which is bundled with, which is a part of, what is it? The Namco, no, Pac-Man and Galaga Dimensions or something like that on the 3DS. And from the gameplay I've seen, it looks pretty good. It looks like not bad. Oh, Jesus. But I don't know. I don't have a 3DS capture card, and they're not making them anymore. So unless, well, I mean, by that time I should have a good enough computer to be able to emulate it, but I won't be able to get like really the true experience of it, you know? I won't be physically tilting unless Citra emulators can like map tilting in real time to the gyroscope tilting of a Switch Pro controller. Maybe that'll work, and it could be a little bit more legit, but I don't know. Either way, even then there's other stuff, PC games that don't seem to be around anymore. I passed 500 points that time. PC games that no matter how hard I try, I can't find any kind of like torrents or emulations for. I managed to get one working for Pac-Man Adventures in Time, but I could not find one for Miss Pac-Man Quest for the Golden Maze or Pac-Man All-Stars. There's also Namco All-Stars Pac-Man, which was a Big Fish Games exclusive remake of the original Pac-Man. Hey, that was pretty good. But obviously that game is not purchasable anymore. I cannot purchase it in full as it's no longer available on Big Fish's website. It's an older game. But that said, I did find a torrent of it. Not a torrent, but like some kind of like downloadable version of it. But, you know, it's not really doing a whole lot when I can't actually play the whole game. I get a 30-minute trial. I did keep the installer on my desktop just in case 30 minutes just isn't enough for me to review that. That will probably be included in my review of the original Pac-Man to start the marathon off, because it's basically just a remake, and there's not really any point in giving it its own video way down the line. I'll probably do like Pac-Man plus all of its shitty ports and whatnot, like all the different versions and ports and stuff of the original, all in one video. So that'll probably be a long video. I can see it being like 40 minutes. God only knows. Plus I have to actually review the game. And anyway, there's also, what was the other one? Baby Pac-Man, which is an arcade game made as a half Pac-Man maze game and half pinball hybrid. Not digital pinball, actual pinball. And obviously that can't be emulated because it's got a real-ass physical pinball table in it. Granted, there is a fan-made digital version, but it's not really the same. And I could just review that, but I don't know, it wouldn't feel like authentic. Oh, I only lost one that whole time. That's good. We're doing good on this one. Might even get to round 3. Who knows? So with that said, I actually do have a local arcade with a cabinet of Baby Pac-Man in it. And I have in advance gone and recorded footage for that. While my girlfriend was visiting, we went to the arcade and she helped me record footage for that, so I wouldn't look like Goofy with a camcorder on a tripod playing a fucking arcade game in a public area. I'd at least have someone there with me. Make me look a little bit less dumb. But yeah, we got that taken care of already. I will have gameplay footage. I will also be comparing it to the digital recreation. But that just goes to show that there are a lot of games in this series, and not all of them have been well documented or kept around in this way. This being one of them. I am the only person to actually go through the effort of retrieving this game, to get gameplay footage of it, and to get a ROM, they're not actually ROMs, but you know what I mean, of this game available for other people to play. So if you want to play this, I do recommend getting, if you have an Android phone, just download VMU later. emulator with a V before it, and the VMU or capitals. It's a pretty clever little name. It comes with a bunch of fan-made homebrew games, like homebrew version of Tetris, and even a mini Pac-Man. But that actually has been documented. I've seen gameplay footage of that online. Because, you know, homebrew community, all that stuff. Which is cool. But the fact that there's more known about this homebrew mini Pac-Man for VMU than the actual Pac-Man game made for the VMU is just kind of baffling to me. Didn't get high enough there. So, yeah. Hopefully these beeps haven't been too annoying. Sometimes it just doesn't even play a beep, like here. Well, that time it did. But, yeah, it's on and off whether or not it'll make a beep. So anyway, I will leave a download link to the ROM, per se, of this game that I uploaded to Blue Swirl in the description. It's under the name Pac-it. I should have named it by the game that it comes from, which would be Namco Museum, but I didn't realize that until after I uploaded it, and when I tried to re-upload it, it said I couldn't upload it because it's the same DCI file that already exists somewhere else on the website, and whatever. If you want to play this game... Oh, damn, I made it to round 3! If you want to play this game... Oh, shit! Oh, look at this. It actually gets a little harder. It starts shooting the dots a little closer to you if you make it past 2 cycles. Not that anyone really would. 1062. So yeah, I recommend either use BlueStacks to emulate an Android phone and then go download it from there. If you do it that way, what you'll have to do is go to Google Chrome, go to the link on Blue Swirl that I have in the description. Within the emulator, the Android emulator, go to Chrome in there and download that. It'll save to your downloads. Then I'll see if I can show. If you go to settings, here, let me sorry, this is a little crude. Kind of a tutorial at the same time. So this is what the thing will look like. Oh, hold on, I'm missing some buttons. There we go. Okay, so you'll have the list of games. It'll have all of these except for Pac-it. I don't know why they're listed twice here, but these are the homebrew games that come with it: Pac-Man, Vision, Snakey, Tetris, Flappy Bird, and Snake. I don't know what the difference between Snakey and Snake is. I didn't try either of them. But you go down and hit Settings. Ignore this overlay, and set ROM path to download. Then it will import all of the ROMs in that folder as well, which, unless you download some other ones, will just be Pac-it, and it'll be right there. It'll actually be called like 0038 something 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 because it like changes the file name when you download it from Blue Swirl. This I just got from my Google Drive. I just uploaded it to Google Drive and then downloaded it from within the emulator. So that's that. This is what the overlay looks like. I recommend doing it in full screen mode, or in like vertical mode, because when you do it in normal mode, oh, OBS is in the way. I'll just do this. God. Trying to, oh Jesus. There we go. This is what it looks like. Yeah? Maybe? Okay, hopefully this doesn't look too terrible, but you get the idea. When you have it in horizontal mode, the buttons overlay over top of the gameplay, and it's extremely stretched, so it looks bad. Don't play it like this. Play it in vertical mode. I mean, granted, it's like a bigger image on your screen, but like, come on. Like, really, come on. Come on. Nah. This is, nah. But yeah, that is Pac-it. So hopefully anyone else that has been looking for this game is satisfied. You know, they've reached peace. If you want to play it, hopefully all the information I've given you would be enough. You can try Elysian VMU, maybe you'll have better luck with it. It's a lot easier to install because it's just a PC thing. It also works for Windows, Linux, Mac, Raspberry Pi. But that's not good enough. Not good enough for me. Too slow, doesn't have any sound. It has an option to toggle sound, but even with the toggle set to on, it doesn't do anything. I don't know what that's about. Anyway, yeah. That is Pac-it. Good luck to any of those who want to play it. I challenge you to beat my high score of whatever the fuck it was. It doesn't say anymore, but you can go back in the video and you can see. Send me a tweet at doggygaming4k. That's my Twitter. Send me a tweet and tell me if you beat my high score. Send me a screenshot. Anyway, thank you for watching, everyone. Goodbye.